Alrighty, here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. We're going to be doing the Brownie painting badge. And although this is a Brownie badge, anybody can join us. While we're doing our painting, this is good for all ages, but we are going to be doing the Brownie painting badge. So if you guys could comment and let us know where you're watching from. We are here in Central Maryland, but we do love to see where everybody else is from. And if you are not a Brownie, we would like to know what age you are, just so that we can kind of get a range of where people are watching from and what ages we have going on. So if you guys could comment that would be great. We'd love to see that. So again, we are doing the Brownie painting badge, and the first thing that I want to talk about is some different styles of painting. So obviously there's not just one way to paint. There are lots of different ways, different styles, I guess you could call them, of painting. So the first one that I want to talk about is called pop art. That takes images from all around us, like ads or comic book characters, and uses them in unusual ways. Another one is called Impressionism. That is a style that uses small, visible brush strokes that the artist tries to paint lightly. One that I think is pretty cool is called Pointillism, and it is a style in which paintings are made with tiny dots of color, and when you look from far away, the colors blend together to make the picture. And an example of that is called The Riverbank by Paul Signac. So if you wanted to look that up, you could see what that looks like. And the last one is called Cubism. I think this one's kind of cool. It's a style that uses squares and other blocky shapes instead of round edges. So again, those are just different styles of paintings that artists do. So it's just a reminder that there's not one way, a correct way to paint. Every way that you paint is valid and is good. And even the professionals, they all have different styles of painting. So that's a little bit just about the different styles of painting. So now let's get into our painting. So what you're going to need, obviously, is paint. Things to paint on can be just sheets of paper, if you have that. If you have canvases, I have a couple of canvases, you can use a canvas. If you have like an old poster board, you could do it on poster board. If you had cardboard, you can do it on cardboard. Anything really that you can paint on, as long as we have parents' permission, that is good. You're going to want a little cup of water to wet your paintbrush and to clean it off. You want paintbrushes. I have a couple of different sizes and shapes of my paintbrushes. That's all good. You want to have some newspaper down. I have newspaper down here so that you don't get any paint on your table or whatever you're painting on. And I also have some paper towels just to kind of wipe my hands off if I need. And then I'm using just a paper plate to put all of my paint on. So if you don't have that, you could just use another piece of paper or your newspaper so that you have a spot to put all of your paint on. So for this first one, I am just going to use a sheet of paper. Put this down so that you can see. There we go. And the first thing that we're going to paint is the real world. So again, there's not one certain proper way to do this. We're all going to have very different paintings. So for this one, you can either do a portrait of a family member, a friend, a pet. That's what I'm going to be doing. Or you could do a landscape with trees, flowers, walk out into your backyard and find a spot that you like, you could paint that. Or we could do what's called a still life, which would be something like a bowl of fruit or a vase. So really just depends on what you have around you and what you feel like painting. And so what I'm going to do is, I like the idea of painting a pet. So I'm going to paint my cat. She is upstairs right now taking a nap, but I have just a little picture of her that I'm going to use as my example. But if you have your pet sitting there right next to you, you could paint what they look like right next to you, or if you have a picture of something that you want to paint, you can use that as well. So make sure you can see my paper. So I am going to start by sketching out, just because I want to have a little sketch before I start actually putting paint on my paper. So I'm just going to do a little sketch just so that I have kind of a general outline of what I want to paint. You guys can do that as well, or if you want to just get right into painting, you can do that too, but I find it a lot easier if I have a little sketch. That way I already kind of know exactly what I'm doing before I get started. And again, I just have a little picture that I'm using as a guide. If you have your person or your pet or your landscape right there, you can just use that as your guide. Either way, we're just letting our creative juices flowing today. There's no right or wrong way to do any of this. It all is just whatever you feel. However you like to paint, whatever you like to do. Okay. And again, I'm not the most artistic, but I am just doing this for fun. Just trying to have a good time. Let my creative juices flowing. If you don't have a pet, that's okay. You could do a family member. You could do something, you could do a landscape outside, like the trees or the flowers outside. We're painting something that's in real life. So whatever that means to you, you can do that if you don't have a pet. All right, so I think I have my outline. If you guys can see that, I just did a very rough outline. So now again, I'm using a paper plate to put my paint on. You guys can use whatever you want to for your paint. I also actually don't, my cat is gray and white, and I actually don't have any gray paint. So I am going to combine my black and my white paint to create a gray, since I don't have just a regular gray. I'm just gonna do a little dot of black and a little dot of white, and I'm gonna combine those to make a gray. So if you don't have the exact color that you need, can't open this. You can combine colors to create whatever color that you need. So I'm just combining my black and my white to make a nice gray color. And I'm gonna wet my brush also before I start. All right. Let's kind of combine our black and our white to make our gray. I'm gonna add a little bit more white to lighten it up. There we go. There we go, that looks better already. All right, so if there's anybody just joining us, we are doing the Brownie painting badge. And our first step is going to be to paint something in real life. So that can be a pet, that can be a family member or a friend, that could be a landscape outside, so a landscape with trees or flowers, or it could be a still life, which an example of a still life could be like a bowl of fruit or a vase of flowers. All right, so I think I got a pretty good gray color. And I'm gonna start with my outline. So again, you really just want to let your creative juices flow. If you want to use different kinds of paint, like puffy paints or acrylic paints or whatever, is totally up to you. This badge is all about just being creative and doing things that you like to do. And so that is what we're going to do today. Just gonna have fun. And be as creative as we want to be. You see, we have people watching from all over, which is awesome. We love to see that. If you're just joining us, we'd love to see in the comments where you're watching from, your age level, all of that stuff. It's a lot of fun to see where everybody is watching from and the different age groups that we have watching. Also, once we're done, we'd love to see your finished products. If you want to put those in the comments, or you can message us on Facebook with your pictures or email. We would love to see your pictures. Those are always fun to see, all of your finished products. All right. So like I said, my cat's pretty much just gray and white. So we don't have a ton of colors. But we can use as many colors as we see in our real life that we're drawing here. And if you don't have the exact color that you're looking for, you can use other colors to make that color that you're looking for. I have to say, I'm glad that I started with an outline because I don't think I'd be doing too well if I didn't start with that outline. I think that really helped me to kind of see what I was doing before I started with the paint. And that way, I kind of had a visual to go off of instead of just a blank piece of paper. I definitely would recommend if you're just starting that you start with an outline. All right, and just let those creative juices flow. Again, I'm using a picture of my cat as my example. You can use, if it's a pet, you could just sit next to them and paint them, or use a picture. If you're doing a landscape, you can go outside and paint, or again, you could use a picture. Totally up to you and your preferences and what is easier for you. All right. Let's go. All right, so I think I'm done with the gray. I'm going to just kind of clean my brush off here in the water. I also have paper towels. We use paper towels to clean up our brushes. If we have multiple colors, or if you have multiple paintbrushes, you can just use different paintbrushes for different colors. Whatever resources you have, you can use those. And I'm going to do a little bit of black for the mouth and her nose. Squirting a little bit of black. Again, no matter what kind of paint that you have, you can use that. No matter what kind of paintbrushes you have. All right. Do her mouth here. Alrighty. A little black in her eyes. Just do a little dots right there for her eyes. All right. Clean off my brush again. And she has kind of greenish yellow eyes. So again, I think I'm going to combine some colors here to try to get the right color. I'm going to do a little bit of green and a little bit of yellow. It's kind of a lighter green that I have here. And some yellow. There we go. I'm going to combine those up. Oh, you can't see it, sorry. Just did a little green and a yellow. I'm going to combine for her eyes. That's a pretty color. I like that. Okay. And I'm just painting her eyes. And if we make little mistakes, that is okay. As Bob Ross always says, there's no mistakes, just happy little accidents. We can either cover them up or we can embrace them and make them part of the painting. So we are just letting our creative juices flowing and being creative today. All right, wash that off. Oh, I covered up the black in her eye a little bit, so I'm gonna redo that black in her eye. Should probably do the darker colors last. That's usually better, since the darker colors kind of take up more. It's good to do the darker colors last. So, kind of touching up some of these black sections. All right, I think that looks good. Wiping off my paintbrush again. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Here's my finished product. That's my cat, Grace. I'm going to set this over to the side to let it dry. You are still working on yours. There we go. If you're still working on yours, you can keep working on that. And we are going to move on to the next thing. We're going to do about 4 or 5 paintings today. Just so that you guys know. So our next one is we are going to paint a mood. So I know that sounds kind of crazy. How do you paint a mood? But if you just think about it, think about some of the color, some of the moods that you have obviously are going to be, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you calm? Nervous? Anxious? Think about one of those feelings. And think about some of the colors maybe that you see when you feel happy or you feel calm. And some of the shapes. So what I'm thinking is, I think blues make me very calm. And I really like very straight lines and very, non-symmetrical things, I think kind of make me calm. And so that is what I want to paint. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to use some painter's tape to make the shapes on my canvas. And then I'm going to paint in between the tape, and then when I pull the tape up, it'll make my nice straight lines. So I'm gonna put tape along the edges. And so again, I want you guys to think about some of the moods that you feel. So happy, sad, calm, nervous, anxious, any of those things. And think about some of the colors that you associate with that feeling, some of the shapes that you associate with that feeling, and that is what we're going to paint. So I'm doing calm, and I like things that make me calm, or like very straight, kind of like triangles, rectangles, those sorts of shapes. I think having the tape will help me to make some of those nice smooth lines that I associate with being calm. I also really like the color blue. I think that calms me down. I actually didn't choose this blue tape, this is just what I had, but it helps. And I'm going to use different shades of blue. I have a couple different blue colors that I have. But if you want to do different colors, make it multicolored, if that is what helps you think of your mood. Oh, that piece was a little too short. Again, we are letting our creative juices flow today. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We are just having fun and painting together. All right. That's just sort of my outline. Now I'm going to go in with the different shapes. Excuse me. I see someone's going to do yellow. I think that'll look really awesome. All right, excuse me. So I'm just going to make some different shapes with my tape. I'll use this piece. A little too short. I'll do it right in here. You really want to make, if you're doing it like this as well, you want to make sure that the tape covers everything, so that you can even paint on top of it, but it won't seep through. Let's do another little piece here. And so again, for this one, we are painting a mood. So if you want to think happy, sad, excited, whatever sort of a mood you are thinking, you want to think about the colors and the shapes that kind of remind you of that feeling. And that is what we are painting. So I really like kind of nice lines, kind of a fun, funky pattern. And again, I'm going to be doing the color blue. I'm going to get a clean paper plate for this one. There we go. I'm going to do a couple of different shades of blue that I have here. So start with this one. All right. Yeah, I really like that one. That one's pretty. this one. This is a little bit of a darker blue. I think it got the glue paint dried up a little bit on the. Oops. Okay. That one doesn't really want to come out, so. Hopefully you guys are thinking about your colors, your shapes that you want to do, and getting started with that. Well, I'm playing with these paints because they're not wanting to cooperate with me. That one feels pretty dry. That's okay. Yeah, this one over here too. It's a little container. All right, now I'm gonna use a little bit of a bigger brush since I have bigger spaces to fill up this time. All right, I'm gonna start with this one. In this quadrant. Alrighty. The top doesn't want to stay off. There we go. This one's a little bit of a different texture than the paint I was using before. It's definitely a little bit thicker, but that's all right. Okay, I see someone said that they're doing yellow triangles. That's awesome. So we're just letting our mood, thinking about, kind of reflect how we're painting, what we're thinking while we're painting. Alrighty. Awesome. All right. I'm gonna clean off my paintbrush again, use a different color. Use this lighter blue. Okay. Somebody said that they're doing Blues, yellows, pinks, and purples makes them happy. That's awesome. Someone else said rainbow hearts make them happy. That's awesome. I do love rainbows. I think this is kind of a fun technique to use the tape. It's okay if you get it a little outside the lines, because once you pull up the tape, those make those perfect lines for you, which is nice. You don't have to be quite as careful. I really like this blue that I'm using right now. It's a really pretty color. All right. Awesome. So I'm gonna clean off my paintbrush once again. Use this next color blue that I have. And this big section here. All right. I like reading your comments about what you guys are doing. So we got pink, purple, and blue, green, pink, and yellow hearts and triangles in different shapes, pink, orange, yellow, and blue. So again, we would love to see your guys' finished products once they're nice and dry. You want to send them to us either in the comments, or you can message them to us here on Facebook, or email them to us. We would love to see them and put them up on our Facebook page for you guys. One said they're feeling Eastery. That's a good one. I like that description. That's a good one. Gonna get a little bit more of this paint. We got a lot of the same colors. Someone just said black, green, blue, and yellow, pink, red, green, purple. Different shapes. Someone said they're doing math symbols because they love math. That's awesome. Love to hear that. Alrighty. I'm almost done with this section. Make sure that it's nice and covered, don't have any white spots. Again, if there's anybody just joining us, we're doing the Brownie painting badge. We are painting a mood, so you just want to think about some of the different moods, emotions that you have, and the colors that you sort of associate with that, and the shapes. All right. I think I'm done with that section. I'm going to clean off my brush. I think I want all of my sections to be different colors. And since I only have these 3, I'm going to try to add a little bit of, make this one a little darker, so maybe add a little black to it. I'm going to take this one, add a little bit more. One. Use my paintbrush to get that last little droplet that doesn't want to come out. There we go. I'm going to make this one just a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little drop of black to change the color a little bit. Just a little drop because I don't want it to get too dark. Oops. There goes the lid. Let me get that. Okay. All right, I'm going to combine these colors. Make kind of a little bit of a darker blue. It's actually getting pretty black. I don't know if I like that. Maybe that wasn't the greatest idea. Okay, I don't like that, so I'm not going to use that. You know what? That is okay if I don't like it, because we're just experimenting, seeing what we like, and I didn't like that. So maybe no black, maybe we'll just try to lighten up a color and use white. Hopefully that will go a little bit better. Let's see what happens when I add a little bit of white to this one. Maybe this one will turn out a little bit better. Yeah, okay. I'm liking this a little bit better. If you guys can see there. Just adding a little bit of white because I want my colors to be just a little bit different. I don't want to use the same colors in all of my sections, so I'm creating new colors by combining 2 colors that I already have. Just adding white to this pretty blue that I had. And we're going to do that one down here, I think. Okay. That section was a little bit smaller, so it didn't require quite as much paint. It looks a little bit different than the one above it, which is nice. I like that. Okay. And we'll do one more color. I'm going to try this one again and do a little bit of white with it to try to lighten it up a little bit. Okay. White. There it is. Alrighty. So adding white to try to lighten this guy up a little bit. Combining my colors. There we go, that one's nice. I like that a lot. I'm going to do that in my last little section that I have here. All right. So, let me get this. Here is my finished product. You guys can see that. There we go. I'm going to let it dry with the tape still on there. And then once it dries, I'll take all the tape off so that we can kind of see how that turned out. Awesome. So this next one that we're going to do, I think is my favorite, is painting without brushes. So you don't always necessarily need brushes to paint. You can paint with other things. So what I'm going to be doing today is one outdoor thing and one indoor thing to paint with. So our outdoor thing is going to be these leaves. Just went outside in my backyard, found a couple of different leaves. They're all kind of different sizes and shapes, which I think is really cool. So we'll start with this one and then we'll move on to our other thing without brushes. I'm just going to use another piece of paper. And since we're doing leaves, I think I'm going to do a green paint. I think that will look cool. So I have my green. Just going to do a little dollop of green. There you guys can see that. I'm going to take my leaf paintbrush. And I'm going to get it all over this leaf. All right. So, got my leaf nice and painted up. And I'm just going to very carefully place that down on my paper. Make sure that we get it all down on the paper. And pull it right back up. And there we go. We have an impression, a paint of our leaf that we just did. All right. We can do this with our different sizes. Might need a little bit more paint for these bigger ones. We need a little bit more than that. This is a big leaf. So again, you don't always have to paint with brushes. You can paint with things that you find all around, outside and inside, including leaves. trying to make sure that my leaf is all painted up. I actually probably could use my paintbrush to get the paint all on this leaf, because this one's pretty big. It's a little bit harder to just dip it in. Oops, let me get a fresh one. Just a little bit more paint. Really get it here on our leaf. I'm just getting my paint all over this leaf so that I can use this as my brush. Alright, so I think my leaf is good and covered with paint. Now I covered my leaf with paint. And again, I'm just going to kind of press it down on my paper. Make sure that we press it down everywhere so we get the full leaf print. Pushing it down everywhere. And let's pull it up. Oh, that one came out cool. So there's that one, that leaf print. I kind of like how it didn't come out exact. I think that's really cool. And then let's do this last leaf so that we get our 3 different colors in our 3 different leaf shapes. So for anybody who is just joining us, we are doing the Brownie painting badge. We are painting without brushes. So right now I'm using a leaf as my paintbrush. Although I am using a paintbrush to put the paint on my leaf. On my actual painting, my paintbrush is the leaf. So kind of doing both, but really we're painting with our leaf. So just making sure that I cover my whole leaf with my paint. I chose a green color because it's natural and that's the color that my leaves were. But you guys can choose any color that you want. Again, we are being creative today. There's no wrong way to do this. We're just having fun. All right, so my leaf is nice and painted here. I think I'm going to do it up here. I'm just going to push it down. Make sure that we get the whole leaf print down. All right, and let's pull this one up. All right, that one came out really cool as well. All right, and that is my painting. Nice and simple, but I think that one looks really cool. I think I'm just going to set it to the side to dry. All right. And I'm going to put my leaves over here too. Get those out of the way. The next thing that we're going to use to paint without brushes, I've seen people do this before, I've actually never tried it, but I'm really excited to try it, is string. So we're going to use the string as our brush. I have two different sides and kinds of string that I wanted to try out. Get a new, do I have any more papers? Nope, okay. I'm just going to use a clean sheet of paper. This is going to be this is where I'm going to do my setup. So I'm going to get a couple pieces of string. There it is. Again, I wanted to try out a couple different types of string. So I'm using two different types of string just because I want to see how they are different or the same. So it's kind of short. All right, and I'm just putting them down on my piece of paper right now, and then I'll do a couple pieces of this thicker string. So I want to see how that comes out. I want to kind of keep them separate. All right, and I got my two kind of thicker pieces of string. All right, and then I'm going to take my paint colors I want. I think I'm going to do a pink and purple thing here. I'm actually going to put the paint directly onto the string. So we're going to put our paint on our string, and then we're going to use our string as our brush. I think this will come out pretty cool. And I'm just going to put the paint directly on the strings. I'm going to try to keep the colors and the kind of the same on each string. I'm just going to do pink and purple. Look at the pink. Doing it right directly onto the string. So this does kind of use up a lot of paint, but I think it'll have a really cool end result. Do purple again. All right, and then one more pink. Making sure that we get it on all of our strings. Alrighty. I'm gonna put my paints to the side for now. I'm gonna do this on a canvas, so I'm gonna bring out my canvas. I'll put this right over here. All right, I'm gonna do it like this actually. So I'm gonna take my string, make sure that it's got all the good color on it. Let me show you. Kind of moving it around in the paint, so that's got the good color, all over it. And then, all right, You can see my string has the color on it. I'm just gonna kind of drape it down on here. And take my next piece of string. Make sure it's good and colored. Alright, just like that. I'm gonna put this one down over here. Another piece. Rubbing it in my paint. Put this one down. Like that. These pieces are a little bit thicker, so I really want to make sure that they've got the paint all over them. I'm gonna put this one like that. And my last one. Got a little bit on my finger, but that's all right. And then there's our last one. I'm gonna put this one over here. All right. So we've set our pieces of string on our either your canvas or on your piece of paper. And then we're gonna pull them off and see how the string pulls the paint. Make sure that you guys can see. I'm gonna pull this one right here. Just kind of gonna pull it towards me. All right, you can see it kind of made that little pattern right there. I'm gonna kind of move these strings out of the way because they're kind of in the way of each other. Move these guys out of the way. I'm gonna pull this one down. See how that comes out. That one came out cool. All right, and then put that back right there. I'm gonna pull this one to the side here. Nice, that one came out well. And these two kind of got interlocked as well, but gonna pull this one down. Nice. And I'm gonna pull this one. Very cool. So that was with our paint on our strings and then just pulling the strings in different directions, kind of looping them out however you want. I think that one came out kind of cool. Looks kind of abstract. I like that a lot. That was cool. The little strings and the thicker strings, I think both worked really well, so either of those would work. All right, so that was painting without brushes. We did our painting with leaves and our painting with strings, and those both came out really well. We'll move this to the side as well. That over there. And our last thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint a mural. So a mural is basically just a really big painting that tells a story. So if we want to think of a Girl Scout story, maybe it's your favorite trip that you took with your Girl Scout troop, or it could be a badge workshop that you did with your troop that you really liked. It could be a story about a trip that you took with your family that you really enjoyed. Really any sort of memory trip, anything like that. We're going to make a mural. So a mural is a painting that's going to tell a story. So I think I am really enjoying that Girl Scouts are from all over the world are coming together during this hard time while we're all stuck inside and really working together. There we go. So I think I'm going to draw Girl Scouts all around the globe holding hands. I think I'm just gonna do. And if you want, you can either do it on one piece of paper, you can do it on multiple pieces of paper, however you want to do your mural, as long as you're telling a story. So again, I think I'm gonna do Girl Scouts all over the world coming together during this time that we're all stuck inside. So I'm gonna start with a globe. Again, I like to draw mine out first, just so that I kind of have a little bit of a pattern that I'm going after. If you guys want to think about a story or a memory that you have that you want to draw out, love to see those in the comments as well. All right. Well, I'm gonna have my Girl Scouts all across the globe holding hands, all coming together. All right. Okay. One said they're making a lemonade painting because we're making lemonade out of the lemons we've been dealt lately. That is awesome. I love that idea. That is cool. Someone said they're painting this badge that we're doing right now. That's awesome. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. All right. So I'm just doing my sketch real quick. Just again, so that I have an idea of what I'm doing before I start. All right. Get a couple of my shapes going here. All right. As you can see, I have my globe and then I have my people up top. And I might write a couple of nice words along the sides too, since I have a little bit of extra space there. I think that'll be neat. So let me get another piece of paper to put my paint on. I'm gonna do my globe, blue and green. Blue for the water, green for the land. And I think I'm gonna do my people, my little stick figure people, so I think that's fun. I'm just gonna do them all different kinds of colors, like the rainbow. Like somebody said they were doing earlier. Thought that was a good idea. I'm gonna start with my little bits of land on my globe. All right. I'm starting with my globe that I have on mine. And I'm doing my pieces of land on my globe. Again, a mural is a painting that tells any type of story. So anything that any memories that you have. It can be Girl Scout memories, they can just be family memories, they can be school memories. Whatever you have can be made into a mural. Maybe you've seen murals around. Sometimes they're like on the sides of buildings. Maybe you've seen one like in an art museum. All those kinds of places sometimes have murals. All right. So again, we would love to see all of your finished products once they're nice and dry. You can take a picture of them and send them. Either you can put them in the comments of this video. You can message them to us here on our Facebook page. You can email them. We would love to see them. So, we'd love to see all of your paintings that you did today. From our real life portraits that we did first, our moods, or our painting without a brush, and our murals. We'd like to see all of those once they're nice and dry. I can tell mine are all still looking pretty wet. So, gotta give them a little minute to dry. And so they're doing summer fun by the pool. That is awesome. Love that. Uh-oh. Awesome. All right, there's my land pieces. Now I'm gonna do the water. This nice pretty blue. I really like this blue. Got a little chunky there, but that's all right. Do our blue. Right. Being careful while I'm painting real close to where I've already painted. But our colors are overlapping a little bit. That's all right. All right. Getting my blue in here. And so they like to pick flowers, so they're doing a big flower. That's awesome. I like flowers too. That sort of goes back to the first painting that we did too, which is real life. Painting a flower. So that's great. And so they're doing evil bananas. I'd really like to see that when it's finished. That sounds funny. This one's a little bit more tedious. It might take you a little bit longer. That's okay. And a little bit of a bigger project. That might be a little bit more time consuming. I said they're painting the day they joined Girl Scouts. That is awesome. Love that idea. All right. I'm just finishing up the last little bit of my globe here. You guys can kind of see. Almost got my whole thing done. Trying to be extra careful when I got my two colors coming close to each other. So I don't mix them. I think I need a little bit more blue. There we go. Oops. That little bit off there. There we go. Finishing up my globe, and then I'm going to have my people on top. I think I'm going to do them in a rainbow color. Somebody said that already, that they liked rainbows. Well, that's a good idea. It's just kind of representing people, all different kinds of people coming together during this time that we're stuck inside. Seeing a lot of people doing good deeds on the internet, which I love to see. And we're all in this time together. All right, so there's that. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do my rainbow people next. We'll get a little bit of red. Oh, red. Okay. This red's a little chunky. That's okay. Making our person. Alright, this one's not coming out the best, but that's alright. There we go.
Can the door be open?
No.
You're still on your thing?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Alright, we got our red. We got our orange. These ones are coming out a little bit thicker. There we go. We don't need too much because we're just doing our little people. So that one's all right. Thanks. Definitely need a paintbrush that's a little bit smaller than this one. This one's, I made my people kind of small. So it's coming out a little bit thicker than I had anticipated. But that's okay. I think I like it better with the head filled in, so I'm gonna fill in the head a little bit on this red one. Yeah, that's better. All right, and we'll get our yellow. This one's, oops, move this off a little bit more. And then I'm gonna use my yellow. Okay. I got my yellow. You can really kind of see the pencil through the yellow, but that's all right. You're just being creative. Ooh, I smeared that a little bit. Okay. Okay, green for our next one. Let me get a paper towel. I gotta lay it on my fingers. Use this green. I already have a little bit, so I'll just use this blue one. Who's my green person? Okay, nice. Do my blue. Oops. Blue person. All right. And finally, my purple. Purple. Oops, that was a lot. That's okay. My last one is my purple guy. Okay, let me show you guys this other way. Okay, so I don't love how some of them turned out, but that's all right. I might touch it up a little bit once it dries. But that is my mural. So that was the Brownie painting badge. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had a good time. Got some creativity a little bit out while we are stuck inside. So thank you guys so much for joining, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.